there, welcome or welcome back to Oops, I Planted Again. My name is Courtney, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about my August favorites. Now, this isn't necessarily plants that I got in August, but they're plants that I've been paying extra attention to, and I'm excited about these plants that I have in my collection, so I'm going to dive right in. So the first plant is my Black Velvet Alocasia. I'm going to try to get it as close and clear as possible. So this is a plant that I brought back from the dead. So I got like one little leaf of this a few months ago. It was in moss. It was doing fairly well, and then I kind of just forgot about it because the moss container, it was hard to maintain if it wasn't in a prop box, and I just never got around to transferring to it. So eventually when I did look at it, the leaf had died off, but there was still a bulb. So I still had hope, and that's really why I love alocasias, because they have an opportunity to regrow, which makes me really excited. So I just stuck the bulb in dirt and I just watered it consistently, and I've watched it grow. When the first leaf came out, I was so relieved and excited because I was just so excited that I brought this back to life, because there's a lot of plants that just can die and there's just no reviving them, but this one did, and it started to grow its second leaf, and then I was like, whoa, okay, we have 2 leaves, I'm excited. And now it's on its very 3rd leaf. I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to blur. Okay, that little guy right there in the middle is the 3rd leaf that's coming up, and I'm so excited about this plant. I'm excited to see it grow as big as I can possibly get it. And this for me is definitely a plant for my private collection, not something that I would put in the store. I think just because it's really special to me because I brought it back to life. But I love this plant. Next we have a Silphebakana. Now this is one that I got in a trade back in July, I think. Yes, back in July. It had 2 leaves, but it had been in water in the trading. The person who I traded with, it had been in water. They said it wasn't doing great in the water, and to transfer it as soon as possible. I kind of waited a little bit and it kept yellowing and yellowing. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to put this into soil. I put it into soil and it's given me 3 new leaves. And that's the newest one on top. I have it under a grow light. I just kind of water it consistently, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's like a little root, a little aerial, not necessarily an aerial root, but it's a little root that I feel like I can see is reaching to the dirt. So I may put a little bit more dirt in here to just make sure that it grows even more big and beautiful. Next we have a Monstera peru. Hoping you can see this. This is another plant that I brought back to life. So if you can see, these 2 leaves are the oldest leaf, and this top one is the gorgeous new one that I got. So I got this a couple of months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. It was definitely sometime in the summer, and the person who gave it to me was a fresh cutting. I put it in my prop box, one of my older prop boxes that I've now changed, and this one just did not do well. It was yellowing, but it wasn't dying of anything that I could pinpoint. It did have roots. It took a long time to root in the moss, a very long time. And once it had enough root for my liking, I finally decided to take it out because it wasn't doing well in the prop box with the moss. I put it in soil, crossed my fingers like I do with most things that I do, and it's given me this gorgeous new leaf. And it wasn't even this big when it first came out. I honestly wasn't sure if it was gonna do anything. But it's giving, okay? I love the new leaf, it's gorgeous. And this was just a learning lesson that not everything likes to be in a prop box, not everything likes to grow in moss. A lot of my plants do, but this one just prefers soil, and I'm excited to see this grow. This one is under a grow light as well. If you haven't seen how I organize my plant room and what it looks like, I'll post that video in the cards, so you can kind of see where I have the majority of my plants. Next plant we have is my Pothos and Joy. So this was a plant that I got a very long time ago, a couple of months ago. I split it up, gave some away, sold some, and this was literally all I had left, and it was kind of struggling for a while because it was in a pot that was too big, because I didn't necessarily change the pot when it got smaller. I kind of was just pulling stuff out of it, propagating, and doing things in that manner, so it wasn't really giving me a ton of new growth, and you know, it was just kind of living but not dying. It wasn't doing anything. It was very in limbo. So the first thing I did was put it under a grow light, and it was doing really well in the grow light, sprouted new leaves, it was doing really well, but I wanted to make that growth happen faster, because sometimes when plants are in a pot that's too big for them, they're gonna focus on root growth instead of giving you that foliage. So I put it in a smaller pot as well, and it's given me this new leaf, because it was kind of unfurling, but it was taking a long time, but I put it in this smaller pot under the grow light, and it's doing really well, and I honestly just love the variegation on this plant. I feel like a beauty blogger when I hold my hand up like this. I'm hoping you can see this variegation. I just love the variegation on this plant. I would have to say this is one of my favorite Pothos. I just really like the look of it. Okay, I just had to check. A lot of the times when I am doing plant stuff like repotting or moving things around, I'm really messy. Like it goes everywhere. And when you're watering and repotting with soil and other mediums, the water, if you get it on the leaves, which is obviously gonna happen, then you're doing repotting and stuff, the dirt can get everywhere and it can stick to the foliage, which is something that I struggle with because I do that all the time, and then I'm like, is this a bug? Like, is this a bug? But it's not, it's just soil from me throwing things around and not being super careful with how I'm doing things, but that's just how I do things. Next August favorite would have to be my Philodendron Varicosum. This is a plant that I did get in July, and it already had roots, so it was doing fine, kind of like a little bit of a rehab, but it has a new leaf growing. Don't know if you can see that. It has a new leaf growing, and it's another leaf or another plant that has that velvety texture, which I really like. And something interesting about this plant that I didn't know until I got it was like the fuzzy stem. I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna try to do it as close as possible. I don't know if you can see this. I'll try to put a picture of it on the screen of the fuzzy stem, which is really interesting and something new, because I don't think I have any plants that have, I'm trying to look around, I don't think I have any plants that have like a fuzzy stem thing going on, but I just think it's interesting. Another plant that's really easy for me to care for, and I'm excited to see it grow, and then I'll be able to propagate and have more of them. So I just said that I don't have plants that have fuzzy stems, but actually this next plant does have fuzzy stems, and this is my Florida Ghost. It doesn't have as fuzzy a stem as the Varicosum, but still a little bit fuzzy. So this is one that I got in a trade, and it has a new leaf sprouting. I'm excited to see the variegation on this plant, and I've literally just been watching it day after day. I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, I want to see you sprout. Once this grows, I'm excited to propagate it as well. But something else that I want to do, I don't know if I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, but I want to amend my moss mixture, because one of the plants that I got, actually I think it was my Alocasia Regal Shield, I got that from somebody, and I really liked their setup with the moss. They had moss, I think some leca and some perlite in it, just to help with the drainage, and I actually love that, and I have all of that stuff. So that is something that I want to do with my moss, just to make sure that the roots are getting the proper aeration and also retaining moisture and all of that good stuff. So this is my last one for my August faves, and this is my Monstera, and she's came back to life. I don't know if I have a video or a picture of when I first got this plant, but it was really big, it was really nice. I got it back in February, and I had repotted it and I put it up here in my plant room because it was downstairs and it wasn't doing super well. And up here in the plant room, it was doing really well, giving me a lot of new growth. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put it back downstairs because I just love the look, I love the aesthetic of it. And I put it back downstairs and it started dying and it just wasn't doing well at all. It looked so sparse. It did not like being downstairs in my living room. So I decided to break up all of the pieces. Like I took it all out, I did it outside because it was a huge plant. I took it outside, pulled as many pieces from it as I possibly could, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I have 6 of these, and now they're doing super well. And they're all over my house. Well, they're upstairs in this room, and then I have the rest downstairs, and they're all doing super well. They're all giving me new growth. They're all thriving, and I'm like, why couldn't you guys do this together? But it's fine. They're all doing just super well, and I'm getting those big, gorgeous leaves that I desire, that I'm looking for, and I'm really happy about it. And this one also has, honestly, I don't really like the pole that I have this in. It's not as steady as I would like it to be, but I just think the plant is just super huge. But I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but it has the little aerial root thing is right, oh, it just hit the ceiling. So the little aerial root that's popping out, I am waiting for that to get a little bit longer so I can try that TikTok trend or hack for monsteras where you put that in water and it'll kind of explode the growth. I don't think it's quite there yet, or that I have a glass or a little container that I can put it in. I may have one, I don't know. I'll see if I have something that's tall enough to reach it, but if I don't, I'll just wait a little bit longer. But I've just been loving this plant. I'm loving how big it's getting because it honestly was doing so terribly before I split it up, but I have another big piece up there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I just love this plant and it's doing so well. Now I want to know, what was your favorite plant that you've been paying attention to, especially this month in August? I want to thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one.